Good morning and good evening, everybody, from wherever you're joining us. My name is Kunal Savarkar. I'm the Distinguished Engineer and Chief Data Scientist at IBM. And today I'm going to present, along with my team, some of the most powerful agents that can revolutionize the enterprise workflow. So everybody has been working with the agents. However, every single agent is not created equal. The agents which can solve complex enterprise problem are much more valuable than an agent which can send an email. And that is exactly what we have been building in the Agentrix, which is a platform and the catalog of prepackaged enterprise agent, which is a collection of multi-agent workflows to solve specific enterprise problems. The problems like how do we do audit, how do we do compliance, security threat detection, maintenance of the server side system. So what we have done is to create an army of multiple agents which can talk to each other, which can reason with each other, and solve the end-to-end business workflows by automating it and reduce the human intervention by 80%. So in this particular session, we will be walking you through one such multi-agent reasoning system for cybersecurity, where we can detect internal threats with the help of the agent and then remediate it without the involvement of some SOC analyst to take an action on it. This is going to make enterprises safer and respond to any threat detection much faster and integrates well with best-in-class security products like IBM Hashicorp Vault for managing the secrets, as well as the Guardium for managing the threat portfolios. So now I will hand it over to Vijay, who is our chief architect for ecosystem engineering, to walk us through how the agent can revolutionize the current security management workflow.
Hey, thanks, Kumar. Good morning, good evening, folks, from wherever you're joining. So I'm Vijay Saptankar. I'm the chief architect for the ecosystem engineering, and I'll just walk you through how we have developed the agents for these uh, insider threat scenario. So maybe over the years you would have seen and heard about this whole concept about the hybrid multi-cloud environments where we have deployments on-prem on various multi-clouds going on, and always wonder what is the threat to the data which are deciding on all these platforms. Now, just let me give you some figures for that, right? So approximately what we have learned from our interviews with various enterprises is that around 5 million. $5 million are really cost is for the breach of a single incident, and we for each incident, when I look at it, the we spend around 1.88 million with the AI. With the AI, if it's not there, we are going to spend that much extra on that. So you can really imagine how much this whole data breach uh, can be really important for us to solve as a problem. And the worst thing is, we take about 277 days to really identify that problem and go and remediate that problem for it. Kunal, can you go to the next slide, please? Now, we have various incidents on the uh, have heard about it, that the breaches happens because of DDoS attacks, which really are from the outside. People try to block your ports. People try to access the data through these. But I think one of the most important things which people really do not figure it out, and it's very important in the enterprise, which are really behind things happening behind the intranet. We have the things which we call as insider threat. Insider threats are basically people who are having access, have a privilege access, have got admin access, where they can do a lot of issues, and sometimes they do it mistakenly by negligence. And if you see the figures on the left hand side, the most of the insider threat happens 80% because of the involvement of the privileged credentials, and 62% is because of the negligence. So these are the threats of the type of this when when a persona takes over as an admin, is committing some of the unknowingly commits some of the data threats which has to be handled. And when I look at that whole stuff, the cost per insider threat incident is about 650K, and this is a very huge amount for per incident if you take it. And if you have about one or two incidents in an enterprise, which really happens because of a weak password, because of the way the whole impersonalization of the some of the assets which we have built there, and the a user get access to that because he is part of the enterprise. He is able to log into some of the machines there. So it is the serious things which we have to start considering it. Now, going forward, what will happen if there is no AI agent workflow, right? So when a threat gets detected that, okay, we have got a data breach happened, somebody has gone and accessed the database, there is a security operation control gets an alert. This alert basically creates, there is a workflow, business workflow defined. That triggers the workflow. As soon as the workflow gets triggered, there is an investigation going on that workflow. The first of the things we do start people will start doing is doing a log analysis. They will start doing, okay, if they have some models also for the log analysis, that log analysis will start happening. The remediation still has to be done manual. Generally, in most of these cases, they will be generating a ticket in something like Snow or on one of the service portals, where they will go ahead and say, okay, this incident has happened, and then a person will get assigned to solve that problem, and then he will start remediating that issue. Now, this holds, if you see this complete ladder of to prevent a data breach, is where we spend most of our days of 277 days, which I spoke in the earlier slide. So it is a difficult one. It is time consuming. And that's where we felt that we should have an AI agent which can do all these tasks easily. So what happens when we have a data protection with the AI agent? We, as soon as the threat is detected that there is been the data has been breached on a database, let's say the IBM Guardium, which is our IBM product for data protect, gets a trigger. As soon as that trigger is happening, he calls the supervisory agent, which looks at it from what type of trigger has been generated. It starts looking at starts planning, it does, of which agent should get called. We have 2 or 3 agents inside the solution, and then it does, first of agent is the log analysis. I will do the log analysis of that. The agent does the log analysis very fast. The LLM will drive what the log analysis has to be done. It does, after the log analysis is done, it does a remediation determination. How can this issue which has been identified during the log analysis, what tool can fix the remediate that issue? As soon as that tool remediation is done, we can go and execute that tool in another agent, and the whole incident closure can happen. And I'm just talking about it in a very fast scenario of type of thing. And in the easiest of databases, we may just go and disable the access of the person who has it immediately, so that we know that the things are working fine. uh, Kunal, next slide, please. So I will just run you through a demo which we have recorded in the interest of time here, and that will help you to understand how this whole agent work. The agents are working in the background. The incident is getting created first, and it's going to go. Can the Agentrix window be please started?
And manage all ongoing and historical security incidents. Each incident is tracked with real-time updates showing its status, description, and impacted systems. In the top left corner, there is an option called Create Demo Scenario, which allows us to simulate an insider threat scenario. Let us go ahead and trigger a live simulation so you can see how this agentic AI-powered solution autonomously detects, investigates, and contains a threat. Let me walk you through what happens in this simulation. An internal user, a malicious actor tasked with onboarding an application, intercepts the application's authentication credentials to Hashicorp Vault. The credentials are meant to be securely managed, but she gains unauthorized access through a loophole in the process. Posing as the application itself, she deceives both IBM Verify and Hashicorp Vault into granting her privileged database access. By impersonating the application, She sidesteps normal user authentication checks and directly accesses the backend database. She leverages the application's elevated privileges, access levels a regular user would never have, to extract highly sensitive customer and financial data. To avoid detection, she scripts her queries and access patterns to closely resemble legitimate application behavior using expected query formats, timing, and frequency. This allows her to blend into normal traffic, making it nearly impossible for traditional rule-based detection systems to recognize it as malicious activity. The attack is quiet, calculated, and incredibly difficult to detect without advanced analytics or behavior-based monitoring. But this is exactly where Guardium data protection intervenes. It continuously monitors database activity and immediately flags abnormal behavior, such as unexpected query patterns, unusual data volumes, or irregular access times, triggering a real-time alert before the damage spreads. This alert seamlessly hands over control to watsonx Orchestrate, where an AI-powered threat remediation planning agent springs into action, eliminating delays and reducing reliance on manual triage. The planner agent serves as the brain of the operation. It intelligently evaluates the threat context, severity, affected systems, and risk level, and launches a coordinated response using specialized agents. The log analyzer agent collects and analyzes logs from across Guardium, Hashicorp Vault, and IBM Verify, reconstructing the attacker's footprint to understand how access was gained and what was touched. The action determiner agent then interprets this data, correlates it with known threat patterns, and recommends the most effective and least disruptive remediation actions. Finally, the remediation agent executes those actions, revoking credentials, disabling compromised access, isolating affected systems, and notifying the SOC team with real-time updates, logs, and audit trails. Together, these four agents running within watsonx Orchestrate leverage deep integrations with leading security tools like Guardium, Vault, and Verify to create a coordinated, autonomous response. This is agentic AI in action, turning a traditionally reactive and manual process into an intelligent, autonomous, and collaborative workflow. It not only reduces the mean time to remediation, but also cuts down manual efforts by over 90%, enhances threat visibility, and builds greater trust with clients and regulators by minimizing data exposure windows. Thank you for watching the demo.
Okay, now you have seen the how one of the use cases for the threat management can be done for the insider threat specifically. Let me take you to another industry case scenarios. You must have always wondered, how does the big airlines, the railways, or the airports manage all these assets on its own? How do they take care of maintenance of these assets? How do they really try to maintain the assets in adverse conditions? And these can be across a lot of industries. Let's say, to give you an example, if you're managing the electric towers and the power generating stations at remote locations, and you find some issue in there, how do you go and fix it? So these are real use cases which we are trying to solve. And I'm just giving you a gist of some of the use cases which we really go and help our customers solve the problem. Now, what we are trying to do here and is, we have a product called IBM Maximo application suite, which basically manages all our assets. And we take the control of all our assets using Maximo Asset Manager there. So what we are trying to do here is, the whole asset maintenance is a gameplay for us, where we say, okay, how do I go ahead and fix the asset? How do a complete life cycle asset has to be managed there? And if you see this whole priorities and the driving challenges which we have with asset is, it has to go through maintenance, It has to be find out what is the inventory of those, which asset should be retired, which asset has to be ordered just in time philosophy to be ordered, so that the asset, if has to be replaced, it's available for replacement. And how do I do this in the least cost for us, right? So the idea of prediction of the asset, how to minimize the failure of the asset. If the asset fails, how to go ahead and replace that becomes a great challenge there. And Maximo application asset suite basically helps us to ensure that we go ahead and add a lot of our knowledge what we have built on the industry use cases to help the customers do it very efficiently. Can we go? So what you see on the slide here is mainly on the how the decisions are done by that. People just look at the data, people just get the work orders created, but really don't know how to execute those work orders. And we are trying to help these work orders to execution of this work order very efficiently. And we are trying to do a vision basically ours is to optimize this whole life cycle of the asset through the complete integrated solution for it. Next slide, please. So as I explained, the problem, how big is the problem is for us, right? The current process, which we say, the mass will basically take care of the managing of the asset. It will create a work order that this asset has to be done, and it has got its own components like visual inspection. It can do it and say that this asset needs to get replaced. Now when the work order is released, the work order has been assigned to a particular person. The work order has to be ensured that the part to be changed is there in the inventory. There is a dependency on the technicians who are going to fix it. There is a dependency on the availability of the inventory material. And the most important is on the weather conditions where this asset has to be changed. Now, what we are trying to build it in is after the work order has been done, how can it ensures that the AI agent solution can help in using the weather conditions of that specific place where the part has to be replaced, how it can be go ahead and we can see one agent just looking at the weather conditions, just looking at it whether the technician is available for to do the work. And the third one is whether it can go ahead and find whether the inventory is available for it to be replaced. So I'm looking at it. I'm looking at basically as a weather planner for a agentic app. Can you show the second video, please?
On work order that is created for pump broken at this particular location. So our job is to make sure this work order is being given as a prompt in the orchestrate. So in orchestrate, we have different agents like weather, inventory, and labor agent. I'm just going to explain you how these agents are going to work. So here I have given a prompt like where we need to schedule a work order based on the weather conditions. So here this agent is basically going to the location and it is getting the latitude, longitude, and understanding the weather conditions. And based on the weather conditions, these are the dates that it is being set at the work order. If we go to the work order, we can see the schedule starts and schedule finish are being set using the weather agent. Similarly, we can see the material allocation to the work order. I mean, the issue is found broken and we need the relevant materials that are available in our organization to add it to the work order. So based on this prompt, it is going to understand the material availability in the Maximo and adds the appropriate materials to the work order materials tab. So you can see if I go to material, it is adding the material after running this particular prompt. Similarly, if we after allocating the materials and scheduling the work orders based on the weather conditions, we need to assign the labor who is available at this location. Initially, when we tried this prompt, that time labor was not available, it didn't schedule. So after a certain time, there was one labor who is available called Schaffer, who is skilled at doing this particular job. He is being assigned to the work order to do the appropriate job. So if I go to labor, after running that prompt, it is going to add this particular labor to the work order so that he will be able to do the job at a given point of time. So this is how orchestrate agents that we deployed is going to help supervisor or reliability engineer do the maintenance planning for the work orders that they are actually getting it from the customers. So that's the end of.
So I think we have given you gist of two things: an enterprise which has an insider threat, which really details out what could happen on a scenario where we have to take care of a breach in the data, And second case where we had 4 agents taking care of it, an easy, quick resolution, what may take number of days to do it. And a second scenario where uh, we have to get a asset replaced using a Maximo work order generated by Maximo, using the weather agents, which can identify what is the weather conditions of the location where the asset has to be replaced, and whether the inventory is there, whether the person who is going to do it is available for those days, and then going modifying based on these inputs, going and creating a new work order so that all these uh, pieces are in place and the work is done appropriately. Okay, Kunal.
Um, so feel free to ask the questions, team. We have shared 2 agents which are very clearly focused on enterprises. We have a lot more in the inventory. This is not just the 2 that we have created. There are a lot more which can help with things like vehicle maintenance, that can use the telemetrics data and go through vehicle management for the big car manufacturers. There are few others that can help you manage your Kubernetes instance with the help of an agent, and as well as slew, which covers the banking and the insurance portfolio. So we are sharing the link to our agentic catalog created specifically for complex enterprise workflows, and we would encourage you to check it out and what it could be done to make it tweak into your own specific scenarios for it. So I'm seeing a lot of questions being floated down. So we will try to cover them in next few minutes left in this particular session. Um, so let me read out the first one. Um, is it possible if we have API for? Is it possible to have this agent only if we have APIs for all of this? Right? So I'm not sure I followed the question correctly. So I guess you meant to ask, do I need an API for agents to talk to each other? Then there are various protocols for agents to communicate with each other, as well as with the tooling. Now, I think Vijay can elaborate on how we have done both the Hashicorp as well as the Maximo communication, but API is not the only way. You can there are different ways by which you can also do the native communication depending on the underlying tool and the action you are doing. Vijay, you wanna?
Yeah, I can just elaborate on that. So in case of the, let's say, weather agent, which you asked for, weather agent, there are APIs which we have called the weather agents for. But for other tools, if there are APIs, the tools can go and ahead and call the APIs there. Now we have built this couple of months ago, in the last couple of months, but if you look at the whole agentic things, things are changing very rapidly every weekend also. So the concepts of MCP server, MCP client have come in, where we are looking at the MCP server talking to multiple tools, the the whole scenario, and that's the way we should go ahead with. Let's say if when I'm talking to Maximo, it should have an MCP server on top of it where various tools can get called and it can go ahead and do the things. So if there is an API, and I think that was your thing, like if there is an API, it makes the job easy. But if you're talking here about agent to agent communication, there is a perfect protocol in place, A to D or ACP from IBM, which can really help you to do that. Ravi, is your question on how agent is based on, is on the, I'm assuming that question is based on the platform or on what framework we are doing it. Both the agents are worked on IBM's framework on watsonx Orchestrate. I think we called it out. That's our multi-agent system which we have basically in place, platform we call it, for multi-agent platform. So we are using that for here.
I think the next question is, what are the best problem to solve with multi-agent systems? I think I would say, which problem is there in enterprise that you cannot solve with a multi-agent system? So with Agentrix catalog, we are covering a very wide variety of domains, from digital sales to banking to insurance to vehicle management to system management, like we are seeing in cybersecurity, as well as things like decision optimization, procurement, supply chain, retail systems, along with HR, as well as some really good coding challenges. So, any real problem typically needs more than one agent, which requires a multi-agent system. At the same time, every single workflow that has some kind of a intelligence and a process built into it is a good candidate for agentic workflows. Okay. So I think you can.
Rahul, do you want to take the next one? It's in the agentic RAG, I think so.
Yeah. So I think the next question is, how does the LLM analyze the data? Is the data put into the vector DB, and input from vector DB is real time or not real time? Okay, so this is not, I mean, in case of a Maximo, the data is already structured. Vector DB is really a good option if you want to do something known as an agentic RAG, where the data is in a form of a free text. Let us say you want to call an agent who is doing research on company's past history, and then based on that output, you want an action to be triggered by the agent. So in this case of a Maximo, since the data is very well structured, we were able to directly have the prompt created that can access the Maximo storage system itself. So Maximo application itself has a mechanism to store the data and manage the work order, and it is directly communicating via its tool with the underlying Maximo system without the need for creation of an additional vector DB.
Yeah, I think on the audit logs and software licenses, yes, it could make sense if you have real-time audit logs happening to have an agent in place to go and do it. And you could use some of the software license software and like Flexera, where you have stored all your license information. You can say how many you have and how many you have consumed out of the licenses there. So that could be one of the use cases on that, because you will need at least two agents, one to analyze the logs, and second one agent to go and see whether the agent has a required licenses available for them. I'm assuming this is as a prereq before the provisioning happens on that.
Mm-hmm. I think the next question we got is, what can you make out of these agents in real time? I'm not sure I fully understood it. I think the agents do work in real time. The latency depends on the underlying application and how complex the workflow is. It probably takes anywhere between like few seconds to a minute sometimes for agent to fully complete the job, based on how complex the reasoning and the planning is. Most of the agent have the streaming enabled, so you can see the thought process just like you see it in ChatGPT, and work through it. Okay. I think the next question is interesting, for which we do have an asset ready in agents called as vehicles, which don't have a public API. So we did build an agent that can connect with the telemetric data of the vehicles and give you the maintenance reminder, manage your fleet using it, and activate the control systems for any of the autonomous or predictive maintenance of the vehicles. I think Vijay, if you want to add
Yeah,
detail on
yeah,
vehicles.
I think, yeah. So it could be. I think it tries to solve the problem of a vehicle owner, basically, of some of the instruction which you get onto the dashboard, which you don't understand the symbols, and you would really like to solve the problem, and you don't know what that means, whether it's a really severe, not severe, and you can go through the speech back to the agent, and then it can go and help you analyze the problem and how critical it is, whether you and I need to go ahead and take the car for immediately to the service station to get the issue fixed. That's the intent we are trying to build there on that.
Yeah, so thank you everybody for the interactive questions. Please do check out the link we are sharing on the process of the and for the full catalog. Do please try out this enterprise agents and let us know in case of any feedback after you try it out. So thanks everybody.
Thank you.